You're watching Pyro Media Network.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
I require more, better than we ever had before. Gon' be home, though I couldn't blame. Basic bottom troll, what do you want greater? I am no wave, be surfing. I show you how to get this pay, will I be stacking?
Well, hello, y'all. Welcome back to Bey Windows. Thank y'all for coming and joining me again. Look, y'all, we're going to have a time today. Thank you for coming to just sit at my window a little bit, get this nice little connection today, because I know I need it, because whatever is going on energetically, I know I need some of y'all. So we're going to talk today a little bit more about Jazmine Sullivan's Hotels album, y'all. This is a whole series. We're going to keep talking about it because this album was so transformative. And one of the things that I really love and appreciate about her album were these interludes. To hear the commentary of individuals' experiences was so just powerful. Like there's so much in your own personal story and embracing your own truth. So today is all about owning your story. We're going to talk about Annette's tale, like Antoinette. Like, I don't know who that person is. Maybe I'll get a chance to talk to her one day. But I love how in her voice you could hear the brokenness from wanting to discover who she was, but being judged just because she was a woman. So today it's just me and y'all, and we're going to have some one-on-one conversation about what it is to be a woman and learning and how to express yourself sexually and intimately and how that can come across, y'all. Here we go. So look, I just want to know, have you ever felt like you were living someone else's story and you had to reclaim your own story? Like at some point you went to sleep and you woke up and you were like, this is not my life. Me being exactly who I am, I would never choose this person. I would never choose this job. Damn, I would never even chosen this outfit, right? What am I doing? And you have to come to yourself, right? So like when we think about this Antoinette's tale, she talks about just how just trying to get a handle on yourself and remove yourself from other people's opinions and perspectives. And so I'm gonna read it. Antoinette, I'm not gonna be you, but I'm gonna be me reading you. Okay, here we go. So she said the thing is, niggas cannot handle if a woman takes the same liberties as them, especially with regards to sex. Like, our society teaches them to be so wrapped up in themselves and and their own conquest that they forget we're sexual beings as well. That is just so powerful. So when we're talking about feeling like you're living someone else's story, sexually, we're often in someone else's fantasy world, or we're creating our own in order to deal with someone else's reality that we don't want to accept. So even still, it's this disconnect in how we show up sexually and intimately. And a lot of times as women, we don't even have the tools to sit and learn ourselves sexually and learn ourselves intimately, because we're taught to not touch ourselves. We're taught to not explore. Many of us, if you grew up the way that I did in that the religious culture, we were taught that we had to be chosen and we had to save ourselves until marriage. And so there was no room for exploration. And if we explored, it was usually without any guidance and support and encouragement. So it wasn't healthy. We couldn't flourish, right? We couldn't do it in a way that allowed us to feel safe and comfortable and like we were learning. It felt like a secret. It made us feel dirty. I know for me, it did. And so, like, I definitely know that going through my relationship experiences, I had to reclaim my own sexual story, my own sexual path, my own sexual desires. And I hit y'all, look at this. Remember I told y'all Melanie is my birth name and Manal is my chosen name. And so when I think about that young girl before stepping out in the world, I had a very romanticized idea about love and relationships. And I thought that it was my responsibility to let someone else chart out my life and chart out my path. And whoever chose me would have a plan, even sexually. Like, this person is gonna come, they're gonna rescue me, knight in shining armor, and they are going to tell me exactly what I like. They're going to tell me exactly what I need, and they are going to do you hear that craziness? Insane. And so to go out in the world with that ideology, I was so vulnerable to any and everyone that crossed my path. And many of us are, especially when we do not know ourselves and we are not able to assert ourselves, especially sexually. So if that person wanted to have sex, we had sex. If they didn't want to have sex, we didn't have sex. If they wanted to have sex with multiple people, they didn't ask me. I didn't even make it a requirement, and not even asking, just informing. I didn't have any standards. It's whatever they wanted. And so I definitely had to go through that reclaiming phase. And it wasn't until after I had my son that I really got a chance to sit back and start to think about, how the fuck did I get here? How did I get here? And I got here looking at this baby, y'all. He was so precious. He was so precious, a little chocolate self. But like, I got here in this moment because I let someone else take control of my life. I did not have protection while I was out dating, meaning there was no checks and balance systems. Usually when I was dating people, I didn't have, family around that was able to make sure they were who they needed to be. I didn't have anyone that I could communicate with about what was going on sexually, to say, hey girl, you might want to make him put on that condom. You might want to make him do that shit. Just to say, but now you have a voice in this. You have a voice. Show up for yourself. And so having my son in the manner in which I did, in the mindset in which I did, allowing someone else to chart out my life for me, it was very sobering. But it was also one of those moments that broke me, because I realized this is not my life. Because that little girl What she was picturing was totally different. And it put me on a path where I had to start questioning some things. So that led me to understanding a little bit more about freedom. So the next question I think we all have to think about a little bit more is what does freedom mean when it comes to relationships? What does that mean? How can you be free and still be connected to someone? Look at y'all better look at that body, yachty. She thick. I love it. Hey girl. I love me with short hair. Hey girl. So there's so many phases that I've had to go through in order to start to really understand. One, that I wasn't free, right? You have to go through some undoing. I had to realize that I wasn't free. I would cut my hair off. I would change my outfits, y'all. I moved states. I would do all kind of things to try to discover my freedom. But the reality is that I had to learn that freedom is internal. That freedom first comes within my mind and me recognizing my own power. And beyond my own power, my own beauty, my value, my worth. I had to realize that my voice matters in every space. And I don't have to ask permission for that to be the case. I had to learn it. And so it didn't matter what my hair looked like. It didn't matter what my outfit looked like. It didn't matter whose car I was in. It didn't matter whose hand was on my leg. I have the ability to choose. I have the ability to say, nah, don't kiss my neck. Lick my shoulder. That's what I like. No. I don't want to have sex with you. I want to have sex with that person. And I get to choose. How about, you know what? No. If you are not the kind of person that likes, I'm going to say it, a nice slippery pussy, I'm not for you. Because she gets wet and we go slip and slide. And if that's not what you like, go to her. Okay? Being able to communicate that, I had to learn. And it came through trial and error. I wish it was overnight. I promise you, I wish it was overnight. I promise you, I wish it was after the second relationship, the third relationship, the fifth relationship. I promise you. But it didn't come like that. It did not. So she had to go through some more phases. She had to go through some more heartbreaks. And she had to absolutely go through some more challenges where she didn't practice freedom. Mana had to grow up. And we're going to talk a little bit more after we get back from this commercial break.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey y'all, it's Nicole D. Vick from Nicole D. Vick Live, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Welcome back, y'all. Thank y'all for just coming and being like a little bit of window drapings for me while we're sitting here talking and having this conversation about Antoinette's Tale, that interlude that was on the Hotels album, because Jasmine Sullivan laid it out. Not only was the music great, but the stories in between that led us from one song to the next was absolutely the perfect setup for us to take a second to examine ourselves and every time I play this album, every time I hear that prelude, it draws me back to myself, which is why we're having this conversation today. So the next question that I want to get to is that turning point, right? When can you identify in your life when you choose to stop being controlled by others' expectations? When can you choose that? When do you wake up and you realize, girl, you are not living your best life? Look, man, because there was a moment when I started walking around and I was like, I would be that person who would absolutely have fun all the time. I would be silly. I would be loud. I would be wearing all kinds of colors and outfits. And somewhere along the way, someone said, that's not how you woman. That's not how you get a partner. That's not how you get the job. That's too much. And I started listening. And I allowed people to start editing me. And within relationships, I started looking at them to dictate how I needed to show up, right? So if they were like, low key, I'm gonna be low key. If they turned up, I'm gonna turn up. And I started moving as other people were moving. And little by little, I was losing myself. And so that journey and that process into finding myself again, it's a series of turning points. It's multiple experiences, and each one of them is calling you back to yourself. I truly believe that you are whole, you are beautiful, you are perfect, you are made in the image of the all from the time you get earthside. And then life is happening. And so everything that comes your way is literally just getting you back to that perfect space, that perfect state, that perfect being, because you all already came that way. And so every single time a situation occurs and you either have to choose to use your voice or give up your voice, use your power or give up your power, practice freedom or allow yourself to be bound. All of it is asking, are you going to be the perfect version of yourself? Or are you going to be a carbon copy of someone else's idea of you? And so those turning points continue to come over and over again. And I remember it was this one situation where I was in this relationship with someone and we're literally going to sleep, lights out. And all of a sudden, that person says to me, I want to marry you. And I was like, marry? Mind you, we hadn't known each other that long at all. So it sounds like a compliment, right? It sounds endearing. It sounds like something that the old me would have absolutely gotten into, because this person was telling me what my life was going to look like. This person was inviting me into their idea of what needed to happen. And I had a choice. I could have gone along with that idea, or I could have expressed myself. And it was in that moment where I had to realize where I was. And I was exploring life. And I wanted to prioritize me. And it was far more important for me to put my goals, my personal goals, above a relationship. And I had to be honest about that. The sex was great. The friendship was cool. But we were on two different pages. And I had to make that choice. And I compassionately shared my truth. Now, I ain't gonna act like it ended well, because it absolutely did not. Because this individual had their idea of what our lives needed to be. But in that moment, Manal stood 10 toes down and spoke up. And in that moment, I took a little bit more of my freedom back. And it was worth it. It was worth it. You don't always get the result that is peaceful. You don't always get the result that it makes you feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, if it's your truth, it should free you. Another phase of me. And I didn't have it perfectly, y'all. I still had to keep learning. So how do you respond to people who try to define you or judge you or your choices? Look, I'm not going to act like I have this perfectly, because I'm still working on it. This is a daily battle, because that individual who just wants to just exist, look, with the green hair and the polka dots, right, and just be silly and fun loving and open all the time, and just be cuddly and lovely and bubbly. I call myself a fairy, y'all. And be a little unicorn. That person right there moving through the world, a lot of people are not receptive to that individual. It's just the reality, because most people are not content and solid within themselves. And so when they see an individual like me who is working on freedom actively, their first response is typically to put me in a cage, right? And so, like, I have to constantly make the decision to say, I know who I am, and I'm going to show up in the fullness of me. And if my heart is pure and my intentions are pure, and I am absolutely looking to work for the greater good, then who I am is enough. And who I am is perfect. And I immediately go into fairy mode. It's like this transformation that I do from the inside out, where I just go, It's like when Superman goes into the phone booth and transforms, right? Like Clark Kent went in, Superman's coming out. And so instantly I close my eyes, I take a breath, and I decide somebody needs to represent Manal. And I'm the only one to do that. And so it's one of those things where it's moment by moment again. And I don't have to tell everybody that they're wrong about me. I don't have to have a conversation with everyone when they are deciding to overstep their boundaries and tell me who I need to become in that moment or the next. I don't have to do that, because I've already decided who I am. And it's so crazy, because I had a back and forth with someone who was telling me that I'm too nice because I responded very professionally and very cordially and gently to someone who was being rude. And I had to tell them I'm not being soft. And they're like, yes, you are. You should have cussed that person out. Yes, you are. You should have been this and that. You should have said this. And I said, you know what? I've already decided who I am. Before I have an encounter with anybody else, I have decided who I am. And who I am is proven. Who I am is tried and true, because I promise you the world has tried to squeeze that person out. But I know for sure my heart is pure, my mind is positive, and who I am lives on cloud 10, and I like it up there. And nobody can bring me down but me. And then I flipped my hair and we were done with that conversation, because I'm not going to entertain that anymore. I like to keep the spirit clear. You feel me? Okay. So, phases of an individual, phases of me, phases of yourself. You're not going to get this all right the first time. You're not going to get it all right in your 20s, 30s. This is a lifelong journey and experience. And I promise you, I'm working on this every single day. Every single day. The last question. How do you balance your independence with intimacy in relationships? Whew, y'all. I promise, I wish I could say I got it down. I wish I could say that. But what I will say is I'm better than what I used to be. Being able to just exist in my skin with my yarn braids, and being able to smile when I want to smile, and laugh when I want to laugh, and hold your hand when I want to hold your hand, and just be honest about how I'm thinking and feeling moment by moment. Those are things that I'm actively working on, because as much as I can show up as me on the outside, being able to communicate who I am in a way that is both vulnerable and not necessarily looking for approval, but just inviting acceptance. it takes a whole lot of security within you, right? And so that security, that security, I'm still working on that security, y'all. I am. But here's how I do it. I take a breath. When it's something that is difficult for me to say, I take a breath and I remind myself that I am safe. I am safe. I am safe within me. I am safe within my own mind, within my own heart. And what it is that I am saying is for a purpose to free me and to move me and that person forward. And forward does not always mean together in proximity. Sometimes forward means we have to end this. And it's okay. But whatever I need to say, I'm doing it for that girl with the curls. I'm doing it for that girl who loves to hug soft things. I'm doing it and I'm saying it for that girl who likes to walk down the street and swing her yarn braids, for the one who loves to dance in the parking lot just because. I'm doing it for her. I have to say what I need to say and let the chips fall where they may. That's it. That's it. That's all that I could do. And when I disappoint someone because I don't live up to their expectations and idea of me, I'm getting better at recognizing that I didn't give them that idea. They took it. They created that. And then I also recognize that there's this thing called ACT principles. Dive in if you haven't. But one of the principles is self as concept. And when you think about yourself in fluid terms, even in those moments when someone is telling me who they think I am, I can still say with confidence, you know what? I apologize because I probably did make you believe that that was who I was. Or, you know what? You met me in this moment and now I'm in that moment. So let me reintroduce myself because I'm always in the evolution stage. And it is my responsibility to communicate who I am and versus you telling me who you think I am. And so even in those moments, I can say, you know what? Are you going to give me an opportunity to show you somebody different? Are you going to give me an opportunity to show you how I want to be touched? Are you going to give me an opportunity to show you how I want you to talk to me in my ear? Because I don't want to be called a bitch. That don't turn me on. Not at all. But if you say in my ear that you are going to be okay and that you are going to make it past this moment and you are the most powerful being in your sphere and I am blessed to even touch you, what? That right there is going to get a different response. That right there is going to make that girl squeeze and hug for dear life. And we're going to both have a great time. But I had to get to the point where I was able to say that out loud and realize that it wasn't just about that individual enjoying the moment, because I was not to be used like a toy. I was to be fully present in this moment with them, meaning that I had to show up and I had to tell them who I was and who I am and who I'm intending to be and how they can add to that experience. And so like that balance within that intimacy of your relationship, it absolutely takes work. It takes making mistakes and fixing it. And sometimes sitting in a seat of just sheer terror because you don't know how what you say lands, right? But every time you do, you get closer and closer to the purest version of yourself. And you have to know that you're worth it. I had to learn that I'm worth it. And the people that are using and abusing you, they don't want you to know that you're worth it. So they're not going to tell you. It's the journey that you have to allow yourself to go on because you choose you. You choose you. And so like there are two women who I, as a young person growing up in the 80s, I watched these women on so many platforms throughout the years. And the images that they were able to put in front of me, I didn't fully understand them and I didn't fully embrace them at the time because again, my upbringing didn't even allow me to fully take in their messaging until now. And as much as I loved Debbie Allen and Felicia Rashad for the creativity and for just their essence, now I'm realizing that they woman differently. They woman differently. So let me tell you how they woman, y'all. Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen, they were raised by a strong Black woman who was a creative and an educator within her own right. And so the way that these two showed up with the confidence, with the fullness of who they were, being able to embrace their sexuality and sensuality and their intelligence, not only did they make so much space for themselves, but they had the capacity to do as women who show up in their complete beauty can. They were able to make room for so many others. For so many others. So when I think about this woman that I'm evolving into, because I'm telling y'all, Antoinette's tale, I'm still working on breaking all of the things that she was talking about in that, allowing someone else to own my experience and own my life and own the concept of who I am. I'm working on breaking that moment by moment every day. But if I could choose, and I can, to woman like anyone, it would be like Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen. These two women, the way they show up is so powerful and so authentic and so dynamic that who they are is undeniable. And I'm sure they still have haters, go online and see the comments on some of the things that they say and do. I don't care. And I'm sure they don't either, because they know who they are and they know the power that comes with them being who they are. And it's a beautiful thing just as a young woman to be able to see these two women move through the world. And I have them as examples from the work that they do to the way that they live in real life. It's a beautiful thing for me to experience. And I absolutely follow their example now, taking my freedom back moment by moment, choosing me. I want to thank y'all for joining me today and having this and evaluating just a little bit more of how we can show up better for ourselves. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have it all down. I'm still working on accessing my freedom because it's a moment by moment choice of choosing me versus choosing someone else's false reality of me. And I get to choose because I was born like that. Be well, y'all. Thank you.
Do I require more, better than we ever had before? Gon' be hard, so I couldn't blame. Basic bottom troll, what do you want greater? I am no wave, be surfing. I show you how to get this pay, will I be stacking?
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.